Welcome to Curtis Ghost Corner, coming to you from a secret underground base in occupied America. Hi folks, welcome back. And those that are new, welcome. I just wanted to go through a little bit. Those of you that follow my channel, on my community tab, I show a lot of memes. I post a lot, usually 5 at a time. I do that 4 or 5 times a week, and I just wanted to show you some of the memes that have come up lately and have you guys check them out in my community tab and have us a little bit of fun, maybe explaining a few. Some are very serious, some are really funny, and some are really twisted. So let's check it out. The first one here I think is very fitting. It's true. Memes are a very effective way for conservative people to get a point across and sometimes make fun of the left at the same time. A good twofer. This is the USA. There's no one coming to our rescue if things go sideways. No one will resupply us. No one will airdrop food, ammunition, medicine. There is no place to escape. That's one of the serious memes. And we're going to go through some funny ones as well. This is one that came up. I saw, I believe it was ABC News. Trump's unprecedented campaign pitch. Elect me to get revenge on the government. No, actually, that's not true. Let's go to the next one here. Some of these are really funny. Let's check it out. This one is recently saw. Fiasco American. Huge meatball in every can. Forgettios, new. Made with the thing. It's amazing to me. And if you see on the very bottom, you can barely see it. Made in Wuhan, China. People are very creative and at the same time making a political statement. That's what I like about memes so much. And that's the fact that the left is really terrible at memes. They're the worst. It's one of the few things conservative people have over. Now, this is one I thought was really creative. I got a lot of crap for. When a transgender takes a pregnancy test, and you can see the picture, it's an engine light. For those of you that have a little bit older cars, and even the newer ones, the engine light goes on. That means something is wrong, and you have to go spend a ton of money to hook it up to the computer because you can't fix it like the old days. I thought it was very creative. And that's the one thing about memes I love so much, like I said. It gets a political point across, and it's very creative at the same time. Yeah, I got some grief over this meme. But, it's funny. You don't see a lot of the comments that go on these posts because my email is also included in my About tab in my channel. So sometimes I get some really funny responses, and sometimes people are just plain old pissed. And this was one of those. Now, this is one. It's funny. I work part-time in a grocery store. I'm semi-retired. I own my own store for 22 years. I can't believe they're so mad over an image on a beer can. But yet we lost Aunt Jemima, Uncle Ben's, and Land O'Lakes. Now, I work the aisle in the store that I work at where the syrup is, and I see the different name. I won't even say it and give them credit. And this is the hypocrisy of it. I can't believe you guys are all bad about Dylan Mulvaney on a Bud Light can and blah, 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 but yet they reached hell and they caved. It's funny, on the Land O'Lakes butter, somebody posted, there's a Land O'Lakes girl, if you notice, on the butter now is gone. And it just had Land O'Lakes in the background, and it says, yeah, typical. They got rid of the Indian and kept the land, which I thought was funny as hell. Uncle Ben was actually a real guy, a real chef. And boy, was his family PO'd. Same with Aunt Jemima. It's an icon, absolute icon. But these morons, let's just check it out some more. Some of these are starting to get really twisted here. They're funny as hell. It's really amazing. Now, here's one here. Studies show that female Trump supporters don't have a penis, but have more balls than male Democrats. Yeah. The fact of the matter is, it applies for a lot of the rhinos, too. Interesting how that worked out. It's, I think this one deserves a nice chuckle. Yeah. But it's telling the truth. Just telling the truth. Let's look on here. Some of these are going to get really good. You'll see in a second. Now, this is a more serious one. 1945, Hiroshima. We all remember the bomb. We're reading about it. Those of you that, of course, most of us weren't alive, in Hiroshima in 2016. And there's Detroit in 1945, and there's Detroit in 2016. Moral of the story, it's easier to come back from a nuclear bomb than 5 decades of big government policies. Yeah, offshoring all our jobs. And that's what I love about memes. They make a great, great political statement. It's the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts. And sometimes you use humor, and sometimes you use seriousness. Now, this one was a little twisted. I got a lot of grief on this one. It's really bizarre. Obviously, it's Dylan Mulvaney with President Biden's face. And it's creepy as hell. But it makes the point. I mean, who would have thought, honestly and truly, that an individual that says he's a trans woman would be spotlighted at the White House and cause so much disruption in a major corporation? It's amazing to me. But there it is, nonetheless. Let's continue on. I think that speaks for itself. It's amazing. Now, this one I got a huge chuckle out of. Absolutely huge chuckle. Turns out that an at-home DNA test does not make a good baby shower gift. But here's the funny part. My understanding of unwed couples, and even wed couples, as a matter of fact, in some areas is between 30 and 40% of women that are pregnant are not pregnant by their partners or their husbands. Think about that for a minute. It's not so far-fetched as you think. And that's part of what memes do. It reflects what's going on in society at the same time. And it's funny, but it's like OMG, as their saying goes. Now, this one here strikes a little bit home for me. I was born in 1956. So I remember when I was a boy, Evel Knievel was a big deal. How kids became neighborhood legends before all you pansies came along, and that's true. And this illustrates the fact that we coddle kids so much. Yes, kids are going to get hurt. No, we don't want kids to be seriously injured. We get it. But kids had to learn. I had one of those ramps. I had a banana seat, high handlebars and a banana seat bike. I jump ramps and stuff and all that. Yeah, and I got some scars to prove it. But that was the part of the rite of passage. Rite of passage as a kid. And you can see all the kids laying down there. Oh, they do that now. I'd be like, oh, my God. And there's the adults sitting on the step watching. Because we didn't coddle kids back then. We really didn't. Life is hard. And it's about time they learned life was hard while they were young. It was just, you were just cool. You had a set of balls. And you did fun stuff, yes, and people got hurt. Welcome to the real world. It's prepared kids for what's coming in their adult life. It's something that we're missing now. Now, this one I got a lot of grief over. Remember the famous, when Biden was running for president, he was being interviewed by Charlemagne. Of course, he was in his basement because of COVID. And if you ain't black, or if you're black and you don't vote for me, I forget exactly how it's said. If you vote for Trump, you're not black. It's basically, in essence, what he said. So somebody came up with this picture, which I thought was amazingly well done. I got a huge amount of grief over this one. Huge amount of grief. And I don't think it was controversial at all. In fact, he opened up his mouth and put his foot in it. And by the way, lately, Charlemagne is still running his mouth as well. But you go punch in Charlemagne Larry Elder pretty much puts him in his place. And it's good to see that conservatives are fighting back against these progressive morons and race baiters. Now, this is the one I got a huge amount of comments and emails on. Trans Solo. I love Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. not the last three movies. Rogue One is pretty good, of the new ones. And then Obi-Wan was a pretty good show. Ahsoka, I'm watching piecemeal, but it's okay. I mean, we're going to see how it turns out. But this one, I got a ton of comments on. Between Left My Behind Off and John, you've ruined Star Wars for me. John, I can't unsee this. It was really comical, and I got a big kick out of putting it on there. And whoever did this is really, really creative, and it's just fun in general. This is a more serious one, even though you could make it into a joke following Biden's instructions, FBI. Now, it's going to come to a point, like in Texas and maybe in Florida or some other states, maybe in the Midwest or out West, there's going to be armed state police and a confrontation with federal agents. It's going to happen, hopefully later than sooner, and hopefully nobody gets hurt. But it's going to happen probably along the border or maybe the abortion issue. And following orders isn't going to work anymore, especially like the New Mexico governor prohibited open carry permit. Open carry New Mexico has been on for years. The fact of the matter is she made it unlawful for 30 days. There's going to be a confrontation between local law enforcement in the state, in this case, or the state versus the federal government. And these people are all armed. President Trump goes into a jail cell, and the Secret Service is armed in the jail. It presents a huge problem. That's what I like about memes. It can very easily have a problem and explain it. Now, here's one I got a lot of. Whoever has the equipment to do this, if you could put faces on garbage cans, you would make a fortune. I got a ton of responses that said, John, I'd love to have this. This would be awesome. Just to piss off a couple of my neighbors. I would love to have it too. Look, it's amazingly done. Now, this was obviously Photoshop, but there's some sign companies that could probably do something very similar to this. And I think it would be awesome. You'd make a fortune. Sell them online. I wish Trump would think of it. Maybe somebody that knows him will think of it. This is one I got some grief on as well. Well, you ruined Hooters for me. Obviously, this is a trans woman. Wish me luck, guys. Tomorrow's my first day, and he's got a Hooters shirt on in Clearwater. Now, I'm sure a lot of that's Photoshop is trying to make a point, and I got a lot of grief. A lot of grief. But I think it's funny, and it proves a point. In all fairness, a lot of people go to Hooters because that's the name and that's what the girls have in great abundance, I might add. Now, I've never been to one. There used to be one here in upstate New York, but it's since closed. But it makes a point. It makes a point. You cross a line. It's funny and at the same time satirical. It's, would you go to Hooters? That's the name of the game. Let's look on. We got a few more to go here. It's something to think about. Now, this one, I got some grief over. I got a lot of, oh, man, you. Me spying on my new neighbors to make sure they aren't weirdos, and he has the blue hair and the G-string or whatever the hell it's called, and that creeped the hell out of me. And just, made me gag a little bit, but this who's out there on social media calling all you names and weirdos and you right-wing Nazis and fascists and blah, 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 blah. These are some of the people that are doing that. Makes you wonder. The internet's a great place to hide behind. It really is. And say things you wouldn't normally say. Now, this one is funny as hell. Now, my understanding is, I've read a couple places where somebody tried it. Now, I don't know if they got it from this. It says, got bored today, so I put on a hazmat suit on and went around chalking a red X on random people's driveways. Now, don't use spray paint if you do it to a neighbor that you know that's a friend of yours for a joke. use chalk because you can just wash it off with a hose. But I thought it was funny as hell. And I heard there's a couple of guys that tried it in a couple of places, and it just raised holy hell. And because the point of it is, though, not only is it funny, but people are scared to death of what's coming. They've got them scared of everything, just exactly where they want them, afraid and cloistered in their houses. And that makes a great political statement. So let's check out the next one. Yeah, some of these are really amazingly done. There's a lot of creative people out there, a whole lot of creative people. Now, this one I got a little bit of grief, but mostly laugh out loud. This is not photoshopped at all. This is Senator Fetterman from the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, which I live about 10 miles north of. And that's his wife and his children. Now, I'm not poking fun. I'm just telling you what the caption reads. The Addams Family reboot looks legit. And there she is. That's one of the vice presidents get a lot of grief. In fact, a lot of people can't even remember vice presidents. Can you remember Harry Truman's vice president? Can you remember Jimmy Carter's vice president? Go back a little bit. Nobody can remember. And there she is. And she could be the Democrat nominee next year for president of the United States, and that doesn't scare the hell out of you. Nothing will. But I think it makes a point. You know, I like to be Dr. Oz. I'd be mad as hell if I was him. It's like, how could I lose to this guy? How is it possible? I mean, even before he had his stroke and all his health problems, how could you possibly lose to this idiot? It's amazing to me. But yet it happened. And so that picture I got a lot of laugh out louds, and, you know, John, it's really funny. And I always like the Kermit ones. Kermit are one of my best characters that I like. I've yet to see a feminist fight for equal auto insurance premiums, but that's none of my business. Yeah, you feminists out there, you want equality. We're equal to men, but you want to pick and choose your equality. When it comes to insurance rates, who's paying for dinner, who's paying for the date, and we can go through the list. It's endless. You cherry pick the things you want to be equal in, and the ones that you don't want to be equal in, you take advantage of. And that's the lie of feminism, and that's the hypocrisy of feminism. You want to be equal? Men and women aren't equal. It doesn't mean they don't have equal rights. They're not equal. Men are good at many things that women, the vast majority of women aren't, and vice versa, I might add. It's just amazing to me. Let's do all nurses, 50% men, 50% women. How about oil rigs? How about maintenance? How about road work? The list is endless. Let's just take, now right now in the colleges, more than half, way more than half are women. It means we have to get rid of some and put some men in. They don't want equality. They want equality when it's to their advantage. And that's the part of this I think I like about memes. It makes a point and makes you think a little bit about it when you see it. Now, this is one, got a little bit of grief, but not that much. And it's a good question, I might add. I wonder why drag queens never want to read to people at old age homes. Old age homes, there's people that are extremely lonely. Extremely lonely. Would love to have somebody sit there and read a book to them. But they don't. And why don't they do that? I can't say here because this website, I've already got a strike over my channel, but this website will raise hell. Well, that's a damn good question. So that makes you wonder. That's what I like about memes. It makes you wonder, what is the motivation behind the subject they're talking about? And that's great. That's one thing conservatives are really good at, is memes, and it's very effective. Now, this is one here. These are the people on social media calling you an extremist, and to a certain extent, this is true. You know, the dork that's sitting in his mother's basement calling you a fascist and blah, 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 blah. They're the fringes of society, have now become the controller of mainstream culture. And I don't know what's going to become of it, but it certainly makes a point, and it makes it very, very clearly. Now, think about this for a minute, you older guys like me. Hi, Howard Cosell here. I can't. I used to be able to do Howard's voice, but I can't anymore. I just looked into the future. You're not going to believe the shit I'm about to tell you. Now, if you could go back in time to this time, and there's formerly Bruce Jenner, got to make sure I say this right now, Caitlyn Jenner, Howard Cosell, and O.J. Simpson. We all know the backgrounds on O.J. and Jenner. Jenner was the decathlon winner in the Olympics, and that makes you the greatest athlete in the world. That's what they call a decathlon winner. And of course, we all know O.J.'s football history, and then his wife and her soon-to-be ex and her boyfriend were murdered and everything along with that. But if you went back in time and told people, hey, here's the deal. Howard, formerly Bruce Jenner, now Caitlyn Jenner is going to be a trans woman, and OJ is going to be on trial for murdering his wife and her boyfriend. People would laugh at you. If somebody said to you 10 years ago that Donald Trump would be president of the United States, many would applaud and many would say you're nuts. Nobody knows what the future holds. It could be so bizarre. It could be so great at the same time. Nobody predicted Ronald Reagan would be president. Just a B actor. I mean, nobody thought about that. Now, this is one, I actually got some comments that they didn't get it. It wasn't that moment. Hank realized he wasted the first of his 3 wishes. Now, those of you just pause the video that don't get it. What's a rooster called? Small, giant, small, whatever. What's a rooster called? What's another name for a rooster? And you'll get this meme. Like I said, some are just funny. And I love the Photoshop part where the shadows of the rooster and the man are legitimate. Whoever does these things does a really, really good job and can be really funny and really hilarious. And serious, too. That's what I love about memes. This is one of my favorite ones. I remember I watched 1 million MASH episodes in a day. And this is a picture of Klinger on guard duty. And, of course, it's about the Pride Month and all the other stuff that went along with it and Target displays and the big controversy involved. The spring collection. I remember one episode where Klinger was dressed up like that, but he had a huge hat on with flowers all over it. And Colonel Potter goes to him, "What's with the flowers in the dress?" "It's spring, sir." Carry on, Klinger. I mean, it was comical. Now, if this had a show about this person today, they would raise hell. You can't be funny anymore. It's really sad. Even Jerry Seinfeld won't go to colleges anymore. But I'm going to leave you with this. Some days the supply of available curse words is insufficient to meet my demands. Yeah. Sometimes, like the last couple days, I've been so pissed and just aggravated what's going on. And sometimes it gets to me, and sometimes I need to step back. Take a few breaths. Just try to think, John, it's not as crazy as it seems. Maybe it is. You can do your little partner channel here. But sometimes you just get so fed up. And the information is getting biased. It's valuable. It's like getting a drink out of a fire hose. Things are getting biased that we need to know. So, who knows what the future holds? I love memes. I think they're great, not because they're good weapons against the progressives. I mean, one of the few weapons that conservatives have that they're actually well at, because when it usually comes to culture or PR, conservative people really suck at it. But memes are effective. People get them right away as a rule and makes them think. And I just thought I'd show you a few, some funny ones, some serious ones. And those of you who want to see a lot more of my memes, go to my community tab on my channel, where I'll post 5 memes at a clip, usually 3, 4, 5 days a week. I try to do my best to find the best memes that there are. And so there it is, folks. Just wanted to show you some of the memes and some of the comments that I got, maybe talk about a few. If you like videos like this and want to see more of them, talk about my memes, just leave a comment in the comment section. And as I always say, God bless, goodbye, and good luck.